The feminists are losing their minds all over the country over the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, making it so that women won't be able to terminate their unborn babies in some states. Almost half of the states in the country will ban terminations or at least place restrictions on terminations. The feminists, they're out here crying. Look at this one right here. Over here crying over the right to delete babies, which is crazy because even if they wanted to get rid of the baby, they can still drive over to one of those states where it's still legal. But no, the real reason why they're having these full-blown meltdowns is because they think they're losing control. You see, men never had a say-so. If a woman wanted to have a baby but the man didn't, guess what? That baby is still coming. And she's going to run down to the child support office to make sure they make him pay for that baby that he didn't want. Then you also have cases on the flip side where the man wanted the baby, but the mother didn't. So guess what? The baby wasn't born. In the first scenario, the man will be called a deadbeat, but the woman in the second scenario, well, it's just her decision to do whatever she wants. Saw a lot of white women and black women out there dancing at the protests, and I'm still trying to understand what poppin' thought pockets is going to do. I guess the Supreme Court will change their minds if they think they're doing a good job. And then of course you have these celebrities, Hollywood, taking a stand against a decision, like at the BET Awards with Taraji P. Henson.
It's about damn time we talk about the fact that guns have more rights than a woman. It's a sad day in America.
The lead feminine herself of the night, Janelle Monáe.
In a world that tries to control and police our bodies, my body, and our decisions, my decisions. Supreme Court.
Oh my God. It's giving pro-choice. It's never giving a man policing my body.
If you've ever benefited from a woman making one of the toughest decisions of her life, which is to terminate a pregnancy, you need to be standing with us. This is not just a woman's issue. This is everybody's issue.
And Lizzo, who pledged $500,000 of her own money to Planned Parenthood. Live Nation, they're going to match it for a total donation of $1 million being shuffled over to Planned Parenthood. So we're going to go ahead and take some calls because I want to know what you think about all of this mess going on. But first, take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click that notification bell for all updates. Let's go ahead and get into it. Caller 847, what's your name, age, and where you're calling from?
Seth, 39 from Michigan.
So tell me, what do you think about the Supreme Court decision?
You know, one thing I haven't seen anybody say, and it's really shocking to me because as a guy, I would think that other guys would be speaking up about this point, but I'm actually pro-choice, which I know it's kind of controversial. But I believe women should have the choice, but the unique take that I have is I will still fight the hardest I can to take it from them. Because of the way the marriage laws are and the way men have no reproductive rights and how men can get baby trapped. And basically, women never seeing that they've got so much control over what's so important to a man and they just don't care. At this point, I'm happy letting them suffer. And there's a lot of men that are just like me, where why would we fight for you if you guys have not been fighting for us for years? So even if I am pro-choice, there's a lot of pro-choice guys out there just like me that are just not going to help, people, even if we do think it's right, because we're tired of being overlooked.
Speaking of those men's rights issues, do you think a decision like this will lead to family court reform?
I mean, not in my lifetime. I think mandatory paternity tests are absolutely necessary. It's ironic. I actually am a trash can baby. Women make a lot of consequences for themselves and the men around them and then blame the men.
All right, thank you for calling in. When it comes to mandatory paternity testing, though, it's very simple for me. Go ahead and get it out of the way in the beginning so the truth is out there. No playing around. You don't have to have any doubts or anything. If a lot of people check their DNA, they will probably find out that the guy they thought was their dad is not their dad. Which is why a lot of women don't support mandatory testing. All that lying they get away with, that'll be out the window. If we had mandatory testing, you wouldn't have stories like the man out there in China was with his wife for 16 years and he just found out that all 3 of their daughters, they're not his. Let's go ahead and get into another call. Caller 225, what's your name, age, and where are you calling from?
Brian Turner, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. How you doing, Miss Pink Book?
I'm doing wonderful. Shout out to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What do you think about this decision from the Supreme Court?
Well, first off, shout out to Clarence Thomas. That's one of us, I mean, I'm not a conservative or a Democrat, but I am somebody who appreciates those black men who are within the higher ups of politics. But I'm going to be real with you, Ms. Pink Book. Yeah, we all know that abortion has usage as far as the medical usage. But my question to especially melanated women is this: why is that demographic values abortion so much? Why is that demographic wants to basically use abortion for almost like remedial causes so much? I believe fully that what happened yesterday showed that a lot of melanated women, they're kind of misconstrued on what the true purpose of abortion is. That's my personal opinion.
What do you think about the celebrities like Taraji P. Henson, her comments, and also people like Lizzo, who's pledging $1 million towards Planned Parenthood?
I think that they're misguided. I think they don't do their research. I think most importantly, they're just doing it because they're bought and paid for. I think if they actually did their research, they'd understand that abortion was never meant as a way of protecting women or making sure women who are victims of certain sexual abuses or certain medical conditions to prevent them from dying during pregnancy. If they actually did their research, they'd understand that abortion's true purpose is to limit the black community.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in from Baton Rouge. Have a good day.
You too.
And did y'all see the women out there popping thought pockets? I'm like, what does dancing and doing all this have to do with Roe v. Wade? Like, what's next? A fish fry? And seriously, I'm sure Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, they're going to help Jim Clyburn throw a fish fry or something in South Carolina to somehow try to figure out how to use Roe v. Wade to get some votes. All right, next caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Zoe, calling from Houston, Texas.
All right, hey Zoe, what do you think about what's going on here with the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade?
It's something that my fellow brothers and I have been talking about for over 6 years. We knew this was coming. And this is all about like that faux pas that happened recently where they talked about that it was all about saving white lives. It was not a mistake. The whole thing is that this is a fight. This is a fight for survival of the population of the United States, in specifically the Caucasian ones, because between the male and female infertility numbers going up with each passing year, and the fact that abortion has been killing so many children, and they couldn't get past, the Donald Trump couldn't steal the Latin American children recently when they had that huge immigration wave. They have to do something to start to boost up the numbers, because the reality is this: white women are not having children like they used to, and if it keeps going up, instead of 2050 them being a minority, they'll be a minority sooner than that, probably even as early as 2025. That's the story.
Now, why do you think black women are so upset with this? You had the BET Awards, Taraji P. Henson, she went on stage, she slammed the Supreme Court for their decision. You have people like Janelle Monáe, she made her comments, and even Lizzo pledging $1 million to Planned Parenthood. What do you think about that?
Very simple. In the case of these people, they're thought influencers. I'm not going to use any derogatory language or any slurs regarding that, because I'm not going to lower your program to that point. But the bottom line is this: they're part of the agenda. They're being paid by the agenda, so they have no choice but to lead astray the simple-minded. And it's happening. Because look, the same way, unfortunately, that women of color, but I'll be real about it, black women were led astray when it came with the feminist agenda the first time around, which caused them to stab the black community in the back, and caused literally a whole era, a whole generation to lose all the gains that were made during the civil rights era, where black men notably stuck their lives on the line and died. Malcolm, Martin, the members of the Black the Black Panthers. It's happening all over again. And they're getting sucked in because the thing is this, they're not realizing that they're falling in line with the same tricks that the LGB kicked in, as well as also white women. They're falling into, oh, we're oppressed by, you're oppressed by the patriarchy, you're oppressed by your own men. And in the reality is, never happens. And right now, because of the fact they have a leg up, and they have the upper hand of advantages, they feel that if they don't keep rolling the dice and falling and moving lockstep, they so-called everything they so-called got, they'll lose, which in reality is a whole lot of nothing.
Moving forward, what do you think Black women should do and why we should not be making this our fight?
Very simple. There are two groups of Black women. There are Black women like yourself that are responsible, and abortion will never be an option because guess what? You won't need to be irresponsible choices with your womb, and you're putting yourself in a situation where it's either that or having to route on your own or having to give it up for adoption. I'm a nurse. And my thing is this, when they talk about, oh, the course of rape or if the woman's life is in jeopardy, the reality is this, 95% of the time, whenever it's a situation where it's life and death, you don't have to do that. You don't have to worry about a right to abortion. That's done. That's a medical procedure to save the life. It's indicated. There's no law that will stop saving the life of a mother and saving the long-term reproductive abilities of the mother. Because they talk about, oh, they try all these red herrings like the ectopic pregnancy or this, that, and the third, or let's say she has a stillbirth. Not true. A lot of these things that they're talking about, they're trying to pull things and be sympathetic. No, not true. Now, when it comes to incense and rape, these things happen, but they're not common sense, especially when it comes to, unfortunately, the RIPE situation. When a woman's getting a kid, she has options to prevent any pregnancies from occurring as a result of the crime, her choice. And the reality is this, everything is all about a woman's choice. Abortion should not even be on the table when it comes to being responsible. Women are so-called equal to men. They must conduct themselves as equal. You're adults, handle your lives and take control of your lives like adults. There are no victims. If a woman gets pregnant, it's because she wants to get pregnant. Point blank period. Unless a man takes advantage and does something despicable. Simple as that.
Exactly, my brother. Well, thank you for calling up and have a great day.
Thank you so very much. God bless you.
Now, I agree with the exception when it comes to people being violated. That's not the argument. And that's a very, very small percentage of people. But all the 304s, you notice how they like to justify it by bringing up those exceptions? Listen, for a lot of you ladies out there, you're going to have to manage your thought pocket. That's what this all boils down to. But let's go ahead and get into another call. Caller number 412. What's your name, age, and where you're calling from?
My name is Fatima. I'm 24, and I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
All right. What do you think about the decision?
I actually think it is a fantastic decision to overturn Roe. Multiple lawyers, even Ruth, I forgot her name. Everyone uses her because she's a prominent speaker for women's rights. She even said that Roe was a bad law because the whole point of Roe v. Wade was to allow abortions to be done into the second trimester. Before, abortions were allowed, but you could only get it in the first trimester. And then now, just overturning it means that it's up to the state, which is real democracy. Because if you don't want abortion, then you vote for it. If you want abortion, then you vote for it. And now everyone is upset that democracy is being done correctly because it's not done their way. Especially women who are irresponsible. And I see lots of scaremongering around the subject. Like they keep bringing up exceptions to the rule instead of saying, I want to do what I want to do. I should be able to kill my kid any time during my pregnancy. I shouldn't need medical excuse. My life shouldn't have to be in danger. My baby shouldn't have to be severely deformed and have no quality of life for me to be able to end its life. And I think that is very selfish.
CBS News, they conducted a poll where they said that 65% of women believe that this decision will make life worse for women. Why is it that women believe that this will make their lives worse?
Because they can't do whatever they want to do now. You can't go to a bar, hook up with a man, be irresponsible by making sure you use protection by making him use a condom, or be on birth control, or even take the Plan B the night after. I had a woman tell me, oh, most women don't know they're pregnant or they needed a Plan B until weeks after the fact. But if you are willingly engaging in unprotected sex, you should automatically be taking a Plan B afterwards.
I think that's the biggest takeaway here. You have a lot of women, like you said, they're being irresponsible. They're going to have to be more responsible, right, with their wombs.
Yes, because women constantly say, we want equality, we treat it like men. Now they're treated like men. Men have zero reproductive rights. Even without abortion available to us women, we still have 16 different options of birth control, and we have the morning after pill.
You're absolutely right. Well, thank you so much for calling up. And do you guys hear that now you have these feminists out here talking about how there should be mandatory vasectomies for men? I mean, they will do anything and say anything to avoid responsibility. Okay, let's see. We're going to take one more call here. All right, next caller number 773. What's your name, age, and where you're calling from?
Oh, James, 28 from Chicago.
All right, James, what do you think about what's going on?
Honestly, I'm split. Honestly feel as if the government shouldn't be in everybody's business. I mean, because obviously no one was really comfortable with the whole jab thing with the vaccine, and people are very hesitant about that. So people are already feeling as if the government should not be in women's business with their bodies and things like that. But so I can understand where they're coming from in that perspective. But I also believe in accountability too. Like, if you are a woman and you're in a position where you're not worried about getting, that procedure done or things like that, or be in a position where you're not worried to have that done, you shouldn't have nothing to worry about. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of contraceptives. I might be saying that wrong. There's a lot of things you can do to put yourself in a position where you're being safe and careful. And not only that, being mindful of who you choose before you're in that position. And I get it. There's situations where, people are used against their will or things like that, and people are in situations where they're not safe, if you know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, you just want to be able to be in a position where you're accountable, you're mindful of who is around you, what's going on around you, what's going on inside of you. So that's pretty much it. I think, if you're in a situation where you're accountable, you're smart, then that's all that matters. Because, not every woman is out here. I have family members, I have nieces that are mindful of what's around them, and they're raised well, and they're not worried about that situation. I mean, I get it. You want to have the opportunity to have the option to go get that done, and I feel like the court should give you that opportunity. They should give you that option. But at the same time, there's not much we can do. So just make sure you're in a position where you're being accountable and you're being aware of your surroundings and the man you choose. Because if you are as reactionary and upset as those women and other people were, that says more about your lack of accountability and you wanting to just have hot girl summer and just erase whatever. Like, you can't be selfish like that. Be in a situation where you're smart, know your surroundings, know your people who's around you, keep your circle small, choose the right men, marry before you carry. You're not going to be worried about it.
And I'd like to ask you about this poll. So CBS News, they conducted a poll. They said that 65% of women believe that this decision will make their lives worse. Why do you believe they think that?
Because, again, just not taking accountability. Why would you believe for life to be worse? There's condoms, which I use all the time. There's condoms. There's birth control. There's so many different things you could do to put yourself in a safe situation. If 65% believe their lives are going to change dramatically, outside of the outliers of SA or any type of harmful situation that another person could put you in against your will, you shouldn't have nothing to worry about. Again, it's all about just being smart. And I get it. You don't have that. Most of them don't have the environment, the parents, the two-parent structure, or things like that for them to be able to be. I mean, I read something on Twitter the other day that this is really going to affect low-income communities and things like that, which is true. But again, men are raised to be accountable. You know, we really are. So for you to be in a situation where you're part of that 65% that feel this is going to ruin your life, well, that's just more about you, the choices that you make. You know, I'm 28 and I don't have kids, and I've never been in that situation because of accountability, being smart, no one's around me. You don't have to open up your legs to every guy that you meet, nor do you have to be in a position where you get pregnant and, you know, you're in a situation where, oh, I have to figure out what to do. There's so many things you can do to take advantage of that situation. So it's just they're not taking accountability. And I think it's pretty weak for them to just be that upset because there's so many things you could do before you get to that position.
You're absolutely right. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you for chiming in.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Have a great day. Shout out to everyone who called up, our folks out in Michigan, PA, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, and Houston. We could go on and on about this. The real agenda behind all of this, the LGBT and why they don't like it at all. This decision will not impact responsible people at all. People responsible for their parts, they don't go around making mistakes where they have to go out and terminate babies anyway. They understand how reproduction works. I think a lot of adults out there should be retrained and go through another round of sex education because they keep coming up with these excuses as if they don't understand or if they've never heard of prevention. Never mind, there are tons of options out there that they can choose from. But anyway, more than ever, people, men and women, are going to have to be more selective. Be careful who you lay with. Stop being reckless. Take responsibility for yourselves. I'm sorry. It's not that hard. It's way more things to be protesting and upset about, like high gas prices, the housing market, the rent market, inflation, food shortages, the recession that the Biden administration is not talking about. It's just so much. But instead, they want to go around popping thought pockets in the streets for the right to delete their babies. This is just all so backwards, but let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Want to see more content like this? You can support the channel too. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.